great because um, if this works out well, then I will be able to provide regular to you so you can see. Okay. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. So I can see that there's one person in here, but I'm learning. So just bear with me. And then we are going to be great. I'm really excited to talk about today's topic. I feel as though this is going to be a lot of value add. This actually was a presentation that I did for a company. It's a lunch and learn, and sometimes we just need to have these extra little tips and tips and tricks and how we can excel and be a little bit better. But before we get started, I just want to do a little introduction. My name is Kristina Holle. I'm the founder of the Authentic You Coaching and Holle Consulting. I help individuals and organizations unlock their full potential by aligning into leadership, personal growth, and their overall well being. And usually people come to me when they're feeling stuck, either in their careers or they're unsure of the next step, and they're struggling to build some confidence in launching into a purpose driven life or business. So I'm here today. I'm like exploring, I'm going to see how this potentially shows up. And I'm really excited to be able to be here with you guys and give this a go. So, thank you for your patience while I am navigating a little bit in this space. I will be showing a lot more content as I get more familiar with this. Okay, so this is great. Now I can totally get started. So, for those who don't know me, my name is Kristina Holle. I know I said that before. And a little bit of my background. I am a business strategist, a leadership coach, and a speaker. I've got over 25 years in senior HR leadership development, and I am the author of the Authentic You Leadership Potential. And I've been featured in magazines, and I speak at many conferences. And I'm known as an expert in emotional intelligence or and personal growth. So I just thought I would try this out and get a little more familiar with technology. I'm always talking to people about the way that we need to explore and kind of put ourselves out there and be curious and not get caught up in um, being paralyzed if it's not perfect or if it's not right. Definitely, this will get better as we get going. So let's talk a little bit about the power of goal setting and why it's so important. Many people are struggling right now with knowing where to go, how to set goals, the path. They get a little bit overwhelmed. And if we set proper goals, then we'll always be at least moving in the right direction to where your ultimate goal is and where you want to go. So um, stats show that businesses with written goals are 42 more percent likely to achieve them. And that's substantial. 42% is almost like halfway more likely to achieve them. And, companies that have this strategy have 30% higher performance, and 80% of companies that do not have clear goals they fail. 80%. And when I think of goals, it's really about having a path to keep you on track when you're feeling a little bit off, where sometimes we get derailed to our goals. Sometimes we might think that things aren't working out very well, or something isn't really going to be supporting us the way that we would like it to support us. Like, let's say certain money didn't come in, a certain client didn't come in. Let's say you thought that you were going to get a promotion, you didn't get a promotion. The reason why these goals are really important and to have them in place is so you can continuously pivot and keep going and moving in the right direction. So today I'll skip this slide because this was for another group of people, but I will say this: the number one mistake, and it's not only business owners, this is people across the board. The number one mistake that people make when they're making these goals is that they're really vague. They'll be vague and open, like, "Oh, I want more clients." And they don't have the specifics to drill down in order to get there. "Oh, I want to be a millionaire." Well, how are you going to be a millionaire? And I'm not saying that that can't happen. You just have to be a little more specific in how you could potentially put that in place to get there. So I'm a strong believer that you can do whatever you want to do, but sometimes we need to know what our North Star is. What is guiding us in order to make the moves to move to the next step? Now, this presentation was really set for entrepreneurs. And when we understand that, you can see the example here, but it really can apply to any part of your life. I want more clients. And I literally heard that in the session that I did, where it's like, "Oh, well, I want to be successful." Well, what does that mean? We have to drill down a little bit deeper. And I will say that this is a good example. I want more clients, drill down. I will sign 10 new clients in the next 90 days using XYZ strategy. And we're going to talk a little bit about the SMART model, which is pretty standard out there, but maybe some of you don't know what that is. And when we have the SMART model, what's really beautiful about that model, it helps us really figure out where we're stuck. And if we're stuck in certain areas, then we probably need to drill in a little bit further in those areas in order to reach more achievable goals. And when we do that, that's extremely powerful. That's great. But when we refrain from doing SMART goals, which I'll talk to you a little bit further in the next slide, we really can get ourselves in a situation where we're not we might start out good, but we don't have things to keep us on track. So we'll go into that in the next slide. Let me show you here. So our SMART goals. So many of you from a business standpoint may have heard about SMART goals and maybe you haven't. So let's talk this through. Every goal that you make, I always like to say the North Star. You'll always have a big goal as to what you want to do in the year. Maybe, let's make it not just business. Let's say you wanted to lose weight, right? What's your big goal? Like, let's say you wanted to lose 50 pounds. And a SMART framework would lean you into making it happen. But you can apply this to any part of your life. Like if you wanted to start a new business or if you wanted to save money to travel, whatever it is. Okay. But let's walk through the formula. So, first, with a SMART goal, the framework, you have to be specific. What exactly do you want to achieve? And if it's never too big, it's just really first we got to be specific about what we want. Because a lot of us will say things like these big, lofty goals, but we don't really align into anything specific. And that previous example demonstrates it completely, but it's one of those things that will say, "Oh, I really want a successful business." But what does that mean? How are you going to do that? So let's be specific is the first one. And then measurable. How are you going to measure that you were tracking to whatever that success is for you? So let's go back to the weight example. If you are losing weight, how are you going to measure that? Well, that would be a weekly check in on the scale, or maybe it would be a daily, whatever you choose to qualify as the measurement. And I think it's really important to understand to do those things because when we have measurement, then we can actually see if we're moving in the right direction or if we're not moving in the right direction. Okay. So then it moves into achievable. Is the goal achievable? Is it a realistic goal or is it not? And if it's not, then maybe we need to put it, where it is achievable. So if you're talking about the weight situation, let's go there again. If we're talking about the weight situation and you were saying, "Hey, I want to lose 50 pounds in a week," that is not achievable. But if you said, "Hey, I want to lose 2 pounds a week," and let's move it into business. If you want to do business, "Oh, I want to gain 2 clients a week, 5 clients a week." That's good. But if you tell me I want 50 clients a week, okay, how are you going to do that? Is it actually achievable? Can you do that? It was really interesting because when I was working with these individuals, Achievable was where a lot of people got stuck because they're like, yeah, I could be, but I need to do more of X, Y, and Z. And it happened to be like, I need to do more of sales. And we found out that that was an area that that individual doesn't like. And when we figured out where the resistance is, this is the beauty of what I can do. It's like, it's not just goal setting. It's really identifying like, okay, what is my block? Why am I not allowing these goals to come into play? What is the self-sabotaging belief that I'm telling myself that it can't come through? And if we're doing that, then then it doesn't matter what goal you have. You might achieve it, but are you going to be able to sustain it? The key is that we want to make sure that we are doing things that are going to be aligned and make us feel good that we're actually achieving them. And if you're not liking sales, that's a problem because sales generates a lot of business for your company. It's a revenue generator. So I think you really need to reflect on that, how that might unfold. So, anyways, I think that that is an example. Is it achievable? Can you actually do it? And if you can, then that's great. Then we keep building off of that. Is it relevant? Is it relevant to what you're doing? So, is it relevant to get 2 clients or a list of leads of people that are actually going to buy? Yeah, that's relevant. It moves towards the goal. Or is it relevant that you are getting a gym membership and you're going to be going to the gym every day? Yeah, because it's going towards the goal, the overarching goal. So I want you to be mindful of that. I find that really interesting because sometimes we lose sight of that a bit. Okay. The other one is time bound. We always need to put a time factor on it. Like, when is it going to get done? Is it within 30 days? Is it within 60 days? Is it within 90 days? It's something that we really need to look at to see whether or not this is an attainable goal. And I would argue, honestly, that we should be looking at our goals every quarter just because it can allow us to pivot if we need to pivot. And if we don't, then that's fine too. So let's go to the next slide here. And I want you to understand sometimes and this is in life, guys, it's like we will overload all these things that we need to do. But I would strongly suggest that you simplify and you get 3 revenue driving activities, whatever that is, or the 3 main priorities for yourself to drive the results that you require. So the 80-20 rule is like really, it's a real thing. So if we are focusing 20% of our efforts and we're really zoned in, that will lead to 80% of the results. But if you're doing the opposite, if you're all over the place and you're not zoned in, you're only going to get like 20% of the results. And I don't think that that's what you're really looking for. And like I said, you can apply it to anything. So, anyways, I really think that we need to understand overall, and this is a true one, hope is not a strategy. It's not a strategy. You got to make it happen. How are you going to take action today to start to make your goals happen? Whatever it may be. It could be baby steps, but I would strongly recommend start playing it through the SMART model because it will help you get a little more crystal clear on how you want to present this and how you want to move forward. When we are waiting for other things to fall into place and we don't make moves, that could actually add some stagnancy. It could really not benefit us in the long run. So I really want you to think, hear my voice in your head. Hope is not a strategy. What are you going to do to make things happen today? So I'm really excited that I got to come on here and we could talk about this. Again, it's about, I just want to share this part too. It's about accountability. How are you going to hold yourself accountable? Are you going to have a mastermind? I have an accountability buddy. Do you? I check in once a week just to see that I'm on course, that things are moving along. Even if let's go back, it could be business or it could be weight. Who are you checking in with? Who's holding you accountable when it feels hard and you just want to kind of not do it? I know that having an accountability buddy makes a big difference, or however that is for you, the check ins, because you can course correct. You are not stuck if you are not doing it. So I just want you to think about that. I'm happy to be able to share that. Um, and I love kind of always challenging the audience a little bit. So, what are your 3 goals that you're going to work on for the next 90 days? I want you to think about that. And what's your biggest roadblock? Is it you? Are you getting in your own way? Are you psyching yourself out? Are you just like, oh, I can't do this? This isn't good for me. And if we're doing stuff like that, you're only going to cause yourself more angst. I'm really trying to work with a lot of individuals with trying to see where they're getting in their own way, because when they do, then they can release that and then they can really start to drive the results that they're looking for. So I want you to think about what's your roadblock, what's holding you back. So yeah, I really appreciate. Thank you so much for taking the time and listening and allowing me to kind of play around with the system. I will be doing more lives, but it's just it's so interesting here. I'm learning. I'm a little bit curious and I'm learning how the system works, and it seems to work great. So thank you so much for your time, and I will talk to you soon. And it's Kristina Holle from the Authentic You Coaching. Thanks. Bye.